difficult for me. So this short presentation will not be enough for your understanding what we are doing in Korea, but I hope this can be a starting point for you to understand our context and our experiences. So I'll talk about three things briefly. The first thing is history, and the second thing is the framework and lessons from our history, and the last one is what we have been doing and what we hope to do. So these subjects are very broad and very challenging. Maybe it will take about 10 hours to explain specifically, but I will just do it briefly. Okay, I'm from South Korea, and I think many of you already heard about the media situation in South Korea. Everybody has access to the broadband, and everybody has access, many people have access to the video camera, and so there are very interesting examples of internet websites and video sharing and many other things. So media was always a key in our social development, and recently, and also recently, because of the very fast growth of IT industry, the media became powerful everyday life in our country. So in that sense, sometimes I think if this new media, especially the internet, has a great potential for our democracy, maybe we already have our own revolution and maybe we are in a very good democratic country. But that's not the case. Still, we are suffering from many problems, social problems, inequalities, and also our government is sending the troops to Iraq. There are still many soldiers in Iraq, and this neoliberalist government is trying to push new policy, which is FTA between Korea and the United States, which is very challenging for our social movement. So, although we have a different media, which is sometimes open to our public and our activism, but still we are suffering from the social problems, and we have to overcome the situation. And in this context, our movement for democratic media started from 80s. Just briefly, our country was under dictatorship until 1987. And after that, there was big mass demonstration against the government, and so our democracy is kind of 20 years of history. So from that time, the social movement has grown, and one of the important areas is the social movement for media democracy. And we had several axes of the movement inside this during this history. The first thing is the kind of media reform movement, which is based on the citizens movement and also the trade union in the media industry, especially the public broadcast trade unions. So these people fought for the media democracy and how can I say, the report, balance of the report, stuff like that. And there is another part of the movement which is independent filmmakers who started to make alternative and independent contents which is not presented in the mainstream media. And third part is internet activism. This internet activism is composed of two different activities. The first thing is to intervene the many different policy issues and different regulation issues, such as freedom of expression and privacy and different kinds of issues. And another one is to use the internet for the alternative media movement. So these three different axes of the movement has been growing for past 15 years. And now, after 15 years of our movement, we think we have to reframe our movement and we have to restructure our movement. Although we have got a lot, but at the same time, this is very challenging we face now. And the challenge comes from different situations. Maybe the basic challenge comes from the neoliberalism, globalized capitalism. So where there is a big attack on the public interest and the public media system and the participatory media. And another attack comes from the, how can I say, it's all correlated with the first aspect. The second problem comes from the, how can I say, the myth of the new media. What I'm saying is, internet has been introduced for past 15 years. So now we have the general access to the broadband for many people. But what we see is at the beginning, internet was a kind of a new space where the progressive social movement was very strong. But after years and years, it became occupied by the corporations and commercialized. So now we see a very small part of the internet is occupied by the social movement and progressive activism. So this kind of a new challenge, based on this neoliberalism, we think we should have a new framework of our activism. And I want to talk about just a few points. Maybe we can share for the future discussion of future elaboration of our own strategy for media democracy. The first thing is, we think we should have a more broader framework of developing our own social movement for media democracy. That means, traditionally, there has been a segregation between the different areas of the movement in many aspects. And one of the things is, we didn't have a clear picture about what kind of media structure we want to have in the future. We fought against some issues, and we fought against some attacks on some areas, but we didn't elaborate, and we didn't spend much time to discuss about what kind of real future of the whole media system we want. And that is very challenging, but we have to do that. Without doing that, our movement cannot step forward more and more. We feel very strongly about this limitation. So what I'm saying is, we think we should have a different structure of the media activism in different areas, including mainstream media and also independent and alternative media. And also, in Korea, we categorize this new space as a public media space, which includes public access, media center, and media education as a whole, which is different from mainstream media area because it's based on the philosophy developed from the independent media activism, but which is different from the independent media area because it is a kind of a battlefield to engage in the struggle for redistribution of the public resources. So these three different areas, we think we have a clear picture and framework of how we can develop the activism in different activism